My mom was lying in her hospital bed, delirious, murmuring my wife's name over and over. Sarah. Tears streamed down my face as I called her. When she finally picked up, Sarah sounded annoyed, saying she was busy in a meeting and would call me back later. I could hear a man laughing in the background. The second she hung up, the heart monitor flatlined. My mom closed her eyes and took her last breath. While I was drowning in grief, Sarah's childhood sweetheart, Ethan Davis, updated his Facebook status, geotagged at a 5-star hotel. The photo was of two hands, fingers intertwined, with matching bracelets on their wrists that were impossible to miss. His caption read, "If love is meant to last, does it really need the day-to-day?" In that moment, something inside me shattered. I wiped away my tears, liked his post, and left a comment. Since the mood is so perfect, why not just get married? Then you can be together day and night forever. Your dream come true. After handling my mom's funeral arrangements all by myself, I came home and just sat on the sofa for a full day and night, thinking. At 11 o'clock, Sarah finally walked in. She seemed surprised to see me awake. "Daniel, it's so late. Why are you still up?" I said, my face a mask. "I can't sleep." "Don't tell me it's because you miss me." Sarah sat down beside me, crossing her long, stocking-clad legs, creating a perfect, tempting curve. She wrapped an arm around my shoulders. "After all these years of marriage, you're still so clingy. Aren't you embarrassed?" She reeked of alcohol, and I could even smell cigarette smoke in her hair. I frowned and pushed her away. Sarah froze. "Daniel, what's wrong with you?" I asked coldly. "Where have you been the last few days?" "On a business trip. I went to Chicago to close a huge deal, and I had to rush straight to the office for meetings the moment my plane landed." Ugh, I'm exhausted. To prove her point, Sarah pulled 2 gift boxes from her purse. "See? I got these for you and your mother while I was in Chicago." After all these years, she still called my mom your mother, never mom. One box contained men's cologne. The woody scent was instantly familiar. It was Ethan's favorite. The other was a jade bracelet. I tossed both boxes into the trash. Sarah's eyes flashed with anger. "Honey, what are you doing?" I stared right at her. "That cologne was for Ethan, wasn't it? Did you just forget to give it to him? That's ridiculous. I bought it for you." "Right," I scoffed. "In all our years of marriage, when have you ever seen me wear cologne?" "Sarah, let me ask you again. Where was your meeting tonight?" Her eyes darted away. "At the office, of course." "The office? I think you mean a hotel. You can't hide the smell of alcohol and Ethan's cigarettes with that much perfume." I stood up and said, enunciating every word, "Sarah, let's get a divorce." My words hit her like a lightning strike. "Daniel, what are you talking about?" she stammered. "You want to divorce me?" I replied calmly. "Since your heart isn't with me anymore, it's better to end this sooner rather than later. You and Ethan are the real perfect match. I wish you both happiness." "Daniel, how many times do I have to tell you? Ethan and I grew up together. I've seen him as a little brother since we were in diapers." Sarah's voice rose. "Fine, I admit it, I lied. There was no meeting tonight. I went out to dinner with Ethan to celebrate his promotion. What's the big deal? And the bracelets? Ethan gave it to me. I'm like his big sister. Am I not allowed to accept a gift?" "Right. A brother and sister wearing matching couples bracelets. That's a new one on me." Sarah froze. "Ow, how did you know they were a matching set?" Her question told me everything. Ethan must have blocked her from seeing that Facebook post. He wanted me to see it. How I know doesn't matter anymore. I got up, walked into the bedroom, and slammed the door, leaving Sarah alone in the living room. I first met Sarah on a stormy night. I was walking home late from work when I heard a woman's faint cries coming from a dark alley. My better instincts won out over my fear. When I rushed in, 2 thugs were tearing at Sarah's dress, her pale legs exposed in the pouring rain. The men warned me to mind my own business, but Sarah looked at me with pleading eyes. I was young and reckless. I grabbed a loose brick and charged. I managed to scare them off, but not before one of them stabbed me in the side, leaving me bleeding on the pavement. Luckily, the ambulance got there in time, or I might not have made it. While I was recovering in the hospital, Sarah visited me every single day. Over time, we fell for each other. But just as we were about to make it official, her father, Mr. Williams, showed up to put a stop to it. That's when I learned who Sarah really was. The sole heiress of the Williams family and their multi-billion-dollar corporation. The gap between a regular guy like me and her was astronomical. I was ready to give up, but it turned out my mom knew her father. Between my mom's persuasion and Sarah threatening to kill herself, Mr. Williams finally gave in. After we got married, no one in the Williams family respected me, not even the staff. It was humiliating, but I devoted myself completely to Sarah, making her the center of my world. As the Williams heiress, she had her flaws. She was demanding, willful, petty, and controlling. I accepted all of it. I catered to her every whim and took care of her every need. People said I was completely whipped, that I had no backbone. I didn't care. I felt it was my duty. All I wanted was to cherish her, love her, take care of her, and spend the rest of my life making her happy. But everything changed when Ethan Davis moved back from overseas. They were true childhood sweethearts. Their families had even hoped they'd marry one day. That plan fell through when Ethan's family moved abroad. From what I gathered, they had always stayed in touch, their bond as strong as ever. It was Ethan's idea to move back. Sarah even brought me along to pick him up from the airport. The moment they saw each other, they embraced in a tight hug, acting as if I wasn't even there. I didn't think much of it at the time. I figured their bond was just strong, like family. When Sarah introduced me as her husband, Ethan gave me a strange look, but he shook my hand politely enough. Looking back, I realized that look was pure jealousy and hostility. With Sarah's help, Ethan landed a mid-level management position at the Williams Corporation. Meanwhile, I remained an insignificant clerk, and aside from a few top executives, no one at the company knew I was the CEO's husband. From then on, Sarah and Ethan were inseparable. They commuted together, worked together, and he was often a guest at our house. My mom, always trying to win over her daughter-in-law, would often come over to cook. Sarah especially loved her soup and requested it every few days. Last week, Sarah mentioned she was craving a special chicken soup. My mom got the call and immediately went to the market for fresh ingredients. While she was cooking, she slipped in the kitchen and hit the back of her head. My mom didn't want to bother Sarah, so she called me. I was out of town on business, so I immediately called Sarah and asked her to take my mom to the hospital. She refused, saying she and Ethan were busy with something important. I ended up having to call an ambulance myself and ask a neighbor to help. But too much time had passed. After a few hours in the ICU, my mom was gone. Her last wish was to see her daughter-in-law. She wanted to tell her that the chicken soup was ready. I found out later that the five-star hotel Ethan had tagged on Facebook was less than a 5-minute drive from our house. If Sarah had just gone home, my mom might still be alive. I turned off the lights and was just getting into bed when Sarah came in. She had showered and changed into a silk nightgown, and she laid down beside me just like she always did. "Are you still mad at me?" I kept my back to her and said nothing. Sarah wrapped her arm around my waist and whispered softly in my ear, "Honey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have lied to you. But there's really nothing going on with Ethan, and the bracelet meant nothing. You're just overthinking things. You're a grown man, throwing a tantrum and even talking about divorce. What would your mother think if she knew?" I said coldly, "Don't you dare mention my mother. You don't have the right." Sarah sat bolt upright, her brow furrowed. "Daniel, I've already humbled myself and apologized. Are you going to keep this up? Your mom adores me. Why can't I talk about her? You want me to call her right now and let her set you straight? Go ahead, call her." With that, I grabbed my pillow and left the bedroom to sleep on the couch. For a moment, Sarah was speechless. Then she slammed the bedroom door in a rage. The next morning, as I was leaving for work, I saw Ethan leaning against a BMW, holding a bouquet of red roses. He smiled when he saw me. "Morning, Daniel. Is Sarah ready?" I gave him a cold look and told him Sarah was still inside and that he could go up himself if he wanted to see her. Just then, I heard the click of high heels on the pavement behind me. It was Sarah. She was dressed in a sharp black business suit, her makeup subtle, looking elegant and aloof. Ethan's eyes lit up as he rushed to greet her. "Sarah, you look stunning today. These flowers can't even compare to your beauty. I picked them myself. Happy Valentine's Day." Sarah glanced at me impassively before taking the roses and murmuring a thank you. My expression grew colder. Ethan just smiled. "Don't get the wrong idea, Daniel. It's just a tradition. I've given her roses on Valentine's Day since we were kids. I only miss the years I was living abroad." Sarah scoffed. "You don't need to explain anything to him. He's just being stubborn." Ethan feigned surprise. "What's wrong, Sarah? Did you and Daniel have a fight?" "We didn't fight. He just asked me for a divorce," Sarah said bitterly. "All because of that bracelet you gave me." Ethan turned to look at me, a curious glint in his eye. "I'm so sorry, Daniel. I originally bought that bracelet for my girlfriend, but she broke up with me a couple of days ago, and since I'd already paid for it, I figured I'd give it to Sarah instead of letting it go to waste. I had no idea it would cause a problem for you too. I'm really sorry." I looked at his sincere face then turned and walked away without a word. Hey, Daniel, I'm telling the truth. Please don't misunderstand. Ethan called after me. It's fine, Ethan, Sarah said. He's not going to listen right now. Just let him go. For the next few days, Sarah gave me the cold shoulder. She didn't say a word to me, and every time I mentioned the divorce, she would just roll her eyes and ignore me. We'd had fights like this before over the years, but my mom was always there to mediate, and I would always be the one to give in, finding ways to make it up to Sarah until we reconciled. This time, my mom wasn't here, and I had no intention of going back to being her doormat. I was determined to see this divorce through. One afternoon at work, my manager, Ms. Thompson, came to my desk and told me to go to Mr. Davis's office to help him move some boxes. Mr. Davis was Ethan, of course. He'd been promoted to general manager since his business trip, and his new office was right next to Sarah's. Ms. Thompson was one of Ethan's hires, a total suck-up who constantly gave me a hard time over petty things. I refused, telling her I had an old back injury and couldn't do any heavy lifting. Her face soured instantly. Daniel, this isn't a request, it's an order. A grown man who can't move a few boxes? Who do you think you're fooling? I think you're just being lazy. She spoke loudly enough for the entire office to turn and stare, and the whispers started immediately. What's gotten into Daniel? He's usually so quiet. I can't believe he's talking back to a manager. He must be in a bad mood. Jobs are hard to come by. Isn't he afraid she'll fire him? Nah, he's been here for years. He's a veteran. He's not scared. Ms. Thompson slammed her hand on my desk. Daniel, who do you think you are, defying a direct order? You want to see your entire month's bonus disappear? Go ahead, I said. Better yet, just fire me. You really think I won't? I pushed my keyboard aside, stood up, grabbed my bag, and started walking out. After a moment of shock, she scrambled after me, furious. Daniel, get back here. She grabbed my bag and yanked it hard. Caught off balance, I stumbled, and my side slammed into the sharp corner of a desk. A searing pain shot through me, so intense my vision went dark and I nearly blacked out. Just then, Sarah and Ethan walked by. What's all this commotion? Don't you people have work to do? Sarah said, without even looking in my direction. Ms. Thompson immediately started fawning over her. Ms. Williams, it's Daniel. He's refusing a work assignment and causing a disturbance. Don't worry, I'll handle him. Ethan asked with false concern. Ms. Thompson, what did you ask him to do? Just to help me move a few boxes. He refused, and when I press him on it, he completely lost his temper. Sarah finally looked at me, her voice icy. Daniel, are you really going to cause a scene with your manager over something so trivial? Before I could answer, Ethan chimed in, Sarah, don't be angry. I'm sure Daniel has a good reason for refusing Ms. Thompson's request. You don't need to defend him, Sarah snapped, her eyes growing colder. He gets paid to do a job. When your boss gives you an assignment, you do it. There's no excuse. I think he's just being difficult and looking for a fight. I gritted my teeth against the pain in my side. Sarah, you don't have to be subtle. I get it. I quit. The color drained from Sarah's face. Ethan continued his act. Daniel, it's just a small misunderstanding. There's no need to quit. Sarah is just trying to help you. Take my advice. Just go back to your desk and we'll forget this ever happened. You've been a loyal employee for years. The company values your hard work. As he said this, he reached out to pat my shoulder. I shoved his hand away in disgust. I barely touched him, but Ethan stumbled backward dramatically and fell to the floor, lightly bumping his head. Sarah gasped and rushed to his side, frantic with worry. Ethan, are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm fine, he groaned, putting on a pained and innocent expression. Just a little dizzy. Daniel, I was only trying to help, he said pitifully. We're all on the same team here. There's no need for violence. Sarah's face was contorted with rage as she glared at me. Daniel, apologize to Ethan right now. In all our years of marriage, I had never seen her this furious. The anger was practically pouring out of her eyes. I shot them both a cold glare, clutched my aching side, and started to walk away. There was no way I was apologizing to that snake. The ever-loyal Ms. Thompson immediately blocked my path. You assault someone and then try to run away without apologizing? Security. Somebody call security. A moment later, a group of security guard arrived. The one in charge was Leo Williams, Sarah's younger brother and my brother-in-law. Like the rest of the Williams clan, he'd never given me the time of day. Hearing Ms. Thompson's shouts, Leo didn't even ask what happened. He just ordered his men to restrain me. Office workers poured into the hallway to watch the drama, blocking the entire corridor. Sarah's face was like stone. Daniel, you're not leaving this building until you apologize to Ethan. Even then, Ethan kept up his performance. Sarah, it's okay, I'm fine. I'm sure Daniel didn't mean it. Please, just let it go. Seeing his smug, hypocritical face, I clenched my fists and laughed. Keep it up, Ethan. Keep up the act for everyone. Sarah's brow tightened, and the next second, a huge fist slammed into my gut. The pain was blinding. My vision swam, and I nearly passed out. You bastard, Leo snarled. I've been waiting to do this for a long time. He punched me again, right at my side, exactly where I'd hit the desk. I cried out as pain washed over me in waves, so intense I couldn't breathe. It felt like 1,000 needles were stabbing into my old injury, an agony that consumed every nerve in my body. Sarah froze, a look of realization dawning on her face. She immediately shouted for them to let me go. Leo scoffed. Come on, sis, he's just acting. Don't fall for it. I barely touched him. Who's he trying to fool with all that screaming? Just as he finished speaking, a dark stain of blood spread across my white shirt. The crowd gasped. Daniel, are you okay? Sarah rushed to my side, her face etched with concern. I clenched my jaw, fighting through the pain, and used the last of my strength to push her away. Don't touch me, I gasped. You don't deserve to. You bastard. How dare you push my sister? Leo roared, ready to come at me again. But the sight of the blood must have spooked him, because he stopped in his tracks. After pushing Sarah away, I leaned against the wall and stumbled toward the exit. Daniel, Sarah started to follow, but was stopped by Ms. Thompson's voice. Mr. Davis? Mr. Davis, what's wrong? Help! Someone help! Mr. Davis fainted. Sarah froze, then immediately spun around and rushed back to Ethan's side, not sparing me another glance. What are you all standing around for? Call an ambulance. After I recovered, I went to work for my friend Mark Peterson's company. The work was demanding, but it was fulfilling. During my entire hospital stay, I didn't get a single call or text from Sarah. I even had to pay the deposit myself. The doctor told me I was lucky they got to me when they did. Another 20 minutes, and I could have been paralyzed. He asked me how I got the original injury. I just smiled and said I got stabbed trying to save a stray dog. The doctor just shook his head and said it was a foolish risk to take for an animal, that it wasn't worth it. I nodded. You're right, I said. It wasn't worth it. If I could go back, I wouldn't do it again. On the day I was discharged, I went downstairs alone to settle the bill. As I passed one of the examination rooms, I saw Sarah and Ethan inside. Ethan looked perfectly healthy, his cheeks rosy. Sarah, however, looked tense, anxiously asking the doctor about his test results, completely oblivious to me standing right outside the door. Everything looks normal, the doctor said. No signs of any lasting concussion. Oh, thank goodness, Sarah sighed, her face flooded with relief. I've been so worried. Seeing that look on her face, my heart turned to ice. I blocked her number, blocked her on everything, and walked away. I went back to our apartment, packed a bag, and moved into my mom's old house. I'd only had a few days of peace before Sarah showed up at the door. I didn't open it. We spoke through the wood and steel. Daniel, it's been days. How long are you going to keep this up? She pleaded. You've never been like this before. Why are you being so stubborn? Okay, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Is that what you want to hear? Is your mom home? Please open the door. I brought her a gift. I replied coldly. No, thank you. I'm not opening the door, and my mother won't be accepting any gifts from you. You're not her. How would you know? Sarah started pounding on the door. Mrs. Miller, are you in there? It's Sarah. Can you please talk some sense into Daniel? He's not listening to reason. I stood silently behind the door, biting my lip. After a long while, she finally tired herself out. Fine, she said bitterly. Don't open the door. I'll just leave the gift here. And Daniel, I'm telling you right now, I will never sign those divorce papers. Not unless your mother talks to my father herself. Hearing that, I glanced back at the memorial tablet on the small shelf. Fine, I said. I agree. The day after tomorrow is my grandmother's 70th birthday party. You bring your mother, and we can all talk about this in person. Deal. After Sarah left, I felt an overwhelming urge to get drunk. I scrolled through my contacts and dialed a number I hadn't called in years. Half an hour later, my old friend Mark Peterson met me at a local bar. He was my best friend. We'd known each other since we were kids. When I married Sarah, her family insisted on a private ceremony, so I didn't invite any of my own friends or family. After that, Mark never reached out, and I was too ashamed to call him. I thought he'd hang up on me, but he agreed to meet right away. When he saw the state I was in, he didn't ask any questions. After a few drinks, we were both starting to feel it. Mark finally broke the silence. "So, what's the occasion? Did Sarah finally let you off your leash?" I just smiled and said something like that. "You still working that dead-end clerk job at the Williams Corporation?" he asked. "I quit," I told him. "I'm unemployed now." Mark slapped the table. "Good for you. It was a criminal waste of your talent to keep you there. Listen, I started my own company last year, and things are really taking off. It's not much, but if you're interested, I could really use a VP. The job's yours if you want it." I hesitated for a moment, then told him I'd think about it. Mark said there was no rush. He knew the final decision probably rested with Sarah. As long as she approved, it would be fine. "Let's not talk about her," I said. "I just want a drink." "You got it, buddy," Mark said, raising his glass. "It's been too long. Let's get wasted." After I married Sarah, I gave up so much for her. I quit smoking. I deleted the gaming accounts I'd had for a decade. I lost touch with all my childhood friends. I loved her with everything I had, unconditionally. I put up with her moods, her demands, and even the constant scorn from her family. I truly believed we would grow old together, happy and in love. Looking back now, I realize what a naive fool I was. All my devotion couldn't compete with a single sweet word from her childhood sweetheart. To her, I was just a placeholder, a substitute for her first love. I drank until I blacked out. When I came to, the first thing I saw was Sarah's cold, beautiful face looking down at me. "You're awake?" She was sitting on the edge of the bed, holding a warm, damp cloth. I was confused. "What are you doing here?" "This is my house, Daniel. Where else would I be?" Her words made me look around. I was in our bedroom. Our large wedding portrait hung on the wall, a picture of two people looking happy and in love. Now it just looked like a cruel joke. "Where's Mark?" "He was gone by the time I got to the bar," Sarah said flatly. "He's the one who called me, told me you were drunk." "Damn him," I muttered. Good intentions. As I lay there, feeling miserable, Sarah handed me a glass of water. "Drink this. It's honey water. It will help with the hangover." It was a familiar scene, just with the roles reversed. I never drank, but Sarah often had to for work. I was always the one taking care of her when she came home drunk, cleaning up after her, staying up all night if she got sick. I never complained. I felt it was a husband's duty to care for his wife. I loved Sarah with every fiber of my being. I would have done anything for her, and I did it gladly. And for what? To be made a fool of. All my efforts just made me look like a clown. I pushed the glass away. "I don't want it." Sarah's brow furrowed. "Daniel, I have never in my life had to take care of another person. This is a first for me. I'm humbling myself for you, lowering myself to this. Isn't that enough? You blocked me, Daniel. You're acting like a child. When is this going to end? You were never this unreasonable before. It's like you're a completely different person." I laughed. "Sarah, I'm not the one who changed. You are." "Me?" She looked taken aback for a second. Then her expression hardened. "Oh, I see. You're trying to make this about Ethan again, aren't you? Can you stop being so petty, Daniel? You're a grown man. I've told you a million times, we're just like brother and sister. The Davis and Williams families have been friends for generations. My grandfather made me promise I would always look out for Ethan. There is nothing going on between us. Everyone else sees that. Why do you have to twist it into something sordid? Your mother is such a reasonable woman. I can't believe she raised someone as stubborn and pig-headed as you." My eyes burned and my fists clenched. I snarled. "I told you not to mention my mother. You don't have a right. She's my mother-in-law. Why can't I talk about her?" Sarah retorted. "Daniel, if you keep acting like this, you're going to break her heart. Don't you know how much she wanted a grandchild?" When I didn't respond, she pressed closer, gently stroking my face. "Honey, can we please stop this?" she whispered. "I'm so tired of fighting." I tried to push her away, but my limbs felt heavy and my head was still spinning from the alcohol. Her lips, red and inviting, moved closer to mine. The old me would have given in instantly, completely lost in her. But now all I felt was disgust. I turned my head away, and her kiss landed on empty air. She looked surprised and a little angry. She bit her lip, her voice turning seductive. "Honey, it's been a long time. Don't you want me?" I replied without emotion. "I'm tired. I just want to sleep." A flicker of disappointment crossed her eyes, but she didn't push it. She lay down beside me, wrapping her arm around my waist and resting her head against my back, just like she always had, and soon fell asleep. I carefully moved her arm, got dressed as quietly as I could, and left. 3 days later, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Grandma's birthday lunch is at noon. Don't be late. And bring a gift. Nothing too expensive. It's the thought that counts." My face was calm as I carefully wrapped my mother's memorial tablet in a cloth and left the house. When I arrived at the Williams estate, I was stopped at the door. "You there? The kitchen is short-staffed. Go give them a hand." It was the family's butler. This wasn't the first time. Every time the Williams family had a gathering, he found a way to humiliate me. I was either sent to help in the kitchen or to serve drinks, never treated like a member of the family. The entire Williams clan, including Sarah, acted like this was perfectly normal. In the past, I put up with it for Sarah's sake. Today, I wasn't in the mood. I refused. The butler's face hardened. He told me if I wasn't going to help, I wasn't welcome inside. He told me to go back where I came from. Just then, a BMW pulled up. It was Ethan and Leo. They both smirked when they saw me. Well, if it isn't Daniel," Leo sneered. "Long time no see. Found a new job yet? Or are you here to beg my sister to take you back?" With Sarah not around, Ethan dropped his friendly act and joined in the mockery. Leo looked me up and down with contempt, then slung an arm around Ethan's shoulder. "Come on, Ethan. Let's not waste our time on this loser." "What about Daniel?" Ethan asked, playing along. "Who cares about him? It's not even clear if he's getting through the door," Leo scoffed. Ethan feigned surprise. "Really? But he's still your brother-in-law, isn't he?" "Brother-in-law, my ass," Leo spat. "He's a pathetic clown. I still don't know what my sister was thinking marrying him. It makes me sick just thinking about it." After they went inside, I looked calmly at the butler. "Fine, you don't have to let me in. But when Sarah asks where I am, you can be the one to explain it to her." That did the trick. The butler backed down. He shot me a dirty look and stepped aside. By the time I got to the dining room, they were already serving the main course. Ethan was sitting in my chair right next to Sarah. They were laughing and talking, completely ignoring everyone else. When she saw me, the family matriarch, Mrs. Williams, who was sitting at the head of the table, let out a disdainful snort. Of everyone in the Williams family, she despised me the most. When Sarah had first announced she was marrying me, her grandmother's reaction had been the most violent. She had screamed the most awful things right in my mother's face. After that day, my mom never set foot in this house again. Every eye in the room turned to me, their expressions a mixture of coldness, disgust, and contempt. It didn't matter. I was used to it. Mr. Williams frowned. "Why are you late? An important family event like your grandmother's birthday. And you can't even be on time?" "Mr. Williams," I said calmly, "I'm not here for the party." Leo immediately piped up. "Then what the hell are you here for? Get out." I slapped the divorce papers down on the table. "I'm here to finalize my divorce from Sarah." The entire room fell silent. The Williams family stared in disbelief. Only Ethan looked pleased. Sarah stood up. "Daniel, did you forget our agreement? Where is your mother? You can't hide this from her forever." Before I could answer, her grandmother slammed her hand on the table and shot to her feet. "You think you can just marry into this family and then leave whenever you please? Who do you think you are?" Mr. Williams frowned as well. "Daniel, do you have any idea what you're doing? The only reason I ever agreed to this marriage was out of respect for your mother. This isn't a decision you can make on your own. We need to speak with her. I'd like to hear what my old friend has to say about this." I replied coldly, "There's no need. I've already brought her with me." "You brought her? Where is she?" I placed my mother's memorial tablet on the table next to the papers and pulled off the black cloth covering it. A collective gasp went through the room. The color drained from the grandmother's face. The room was silent for a moment before Leo slammed his fist on the table. "How dare you?" he roared. "It's my grandmother's birthday, and you bring this thing here? Are you trying to curse her? Somebody grab him. Beat the hell out of him. Let's see him try something like this again." A few of the security guards rushed forward. "Wait," Mr. Williams called out, stopping them. He looked at me, his expression unreadable. "Daniel, when did this happen?" "The last time I saw your mother, she was perfectly fine." 9 days ago," I said. 9 days ago? The blood drained from Sarah's face. She was clearly remembering that day. Connecting it with everything I'd said before, her lips began to tremble. "Daniel, you don't mean that day." "That's right. I cut her off. The day you wanted that chicken soup. My mom went straight to the market to buy the ingredients, and she fell while she was cooking. I was out of town, so I called you and begged you to take her to the hospital. You said you were busy, and you hung up on me. Because you didn't take her, because too much time passed, they couldn't save her." My eyes burned with tears and rage as I remembered her dying, whispering Sarah's name. "The doctor said if she had gotten there just half an hour sooner, she might have lived. I hate you, Sarah. I hate you." Clap, clap, clap. Ethan stood up, slowly applauding with a smirk on his face. "Bravo, Daniel. A very convincing performance. You'd even stoop to using your own mother's death to try and trick this family. Truly impressive, he sneered. Leo laughed along with him. Yeah, that's a pretty realistic prop you've got there. If your mom knew you were pulling a stunt like this, the shock would probably kill her for real. Then again, maybe that would be for the best. Having a son like you is a tragedy. If I were you, I'd be too ashamed to show my face. Sis, don't waste your breath on this hypocrite. He wants a divorce? Fine, give it to him. You're amazing, Sarah. Even on your second marriage, men would be lining up to marry you. I think Ethan's a great choice. You two are childhood sweethearts. It will be a perfect ending. As he spoke, he picked up the memorial tablet, tossing it from hand to hand. Huh, it's got a nice weight to it. But it would make a good frisbee. Put it down, I roared. Oh, did that make you angry? Leo taunted. I'm not putting it down. What are you going to do about it? As he gloated, Mr. Williams spoke, his voice grim. Leo, real or not, do not disrespect that. Give it back to him. Fine, Leo sneered. It's just a stupid piece of wood anyway. He carelessly tossed it, and it clattered to the floor, splitting cleanly in two. I saw red. A blind rage took over, and I lunged at him. But the guard were faster, slamming me face first onto the table. My head hit a plate, shattering it. Shards of porcelain cut my face, and I could feel warm blood trickling down my cheek. They held me down, but I fought with everything I had, straining to lift my head to glare at Leo's triumphant face and Ethan's smug smile. If looks could kill, they would both be dead 1,000 times over. Mr. Williams' voice was grave. Daniel, whatever your issues are with Sarah, today is my mother's birthday. To bring that here was completely out of line. If the shock of this makes her ill, I would be justified in killing you where you stand. Out of respect for your mother, I'm letting this go. Now, get out. I snarled through clenched teeth. Give it back to me. Promise you'll cause no more trouble, and you can have it, Mr. Williams said, then waved a hand at the guards. Let him go. The guards let go. Ignoring the blood on my face, I stumbled forward and knelt to gather the broken pieces of the tablet. As I reached for them, Leo stomped his foot down hard on my hand. I'll let you pick it up, and you're actually doing it? He sneered, grinding his heel into my hand, crushing the bones. A wave of grief and white-hot pain shot through me, and I surged upward, slamming my head into his jaw. There was a sickening crack as his teeth slammed together, and blood filled his mouth. He screamed and stumbled back, and I grabbed the largest piece of the broken tablet and brought it down on his face with all my might. Thud! Leo's eyes rolled back in his head, and he collapsed, unconscious. The room erupted in screams from the grandmother and the other women. My grandson, my precious boy. Mr. Williams roared, kill him. Kill him now. The guards tackled me again, ready to finish the job, when Sarah screamed. Stop, Sarah, her father began. Dad, let him go, she said, her voice choked with anguish. He wasn't lying. I just made a call. His mother passed away 9 days ago. We were wrong, and it's my fault she's dead. I'm the one who killed her. Mr. Williams's expression shifted through several emotions before he finally sighed and waved a dismissive hand. Let him go. The grandmother, trembling with rage, was not satisfied. No, look what he did to my grandson. You can't just let him walk away. You have to kill him. Sarah bit her lip, then suddenly snatched a shard of the broken plate from the table and pressed it against her own throat. Grandma, if you don't let him go, I'll kill myself right here. Ethan rushed forward. Sarah, what are you doing? He's not worth it. For the first time ever, Sarah looked at him with pure disgust. Get away from me, she hissed. This is none of your business. Ethan was stunned into silence. The grandmother stopped shouting. She knew Sarah well enough to know it wasn't an empty threat. The guard stood down. I gathered the pieces of the tablet, wrapped them in the cloth, and limped out of the house. The Williams family watched me go, their faces a mixture of complex emotions. I hadn't gone far when Sarah caught up to me. Daniel, you're hurt. Let me take you to the hospital. I don't need your pity. Get away from me. I yelled, using the last of my strength. Sarah, I'm going to say this one last time. I will never, ever forgive you. The moment my mother's heart stopped beating, my love for you died right along with it. Sarah froze, her hand hovering in the air between us. It was like an invisible wall had sprung up between us, one that could never be broken. I clutched the broken tablet to my chest and walked away, step by resolute step, without looking back. After I recovered, I took Mark up on his offer and started working at his company. It was busy and fulfilling. His company was nowhere near the size of the Williams Corporation, but thanks to our hard work, It was growing every day. Sarah never signed the divorce papers. Instead, she started showing up at my office every few days. I ignored her every time. Finally, she got desperate. One day, she came into Mark's office, where I was working, and knelt before me. "Daniel, I was wrong. I truly know that I was wrong," she sobbed. "I'm responsible for your mother's death. But I swear I never meant for it to happen. I fired Ethan. I swear I'll never speak to him again. Please just don't divorce me. I'll do anything you ask. Daniel, I love you. Please don't leave me." She was crying hysterically. Even Mark couldn't stand to watch. He and his assistant quietly left the office, giving us privacy. I looked at the woman I had once loved more than life itself, and I felt nothing. In all the years I'd known her, I had never seen her cry like that. The old me would have been heartbroken. Now, my heart was perfectly still. I said quietly, "Sarah, it doesn't matter if you sign the papers or not. The outcome will be the same. You can't undo what's been done. Your brother was right. You and Ethan are childhood sweethearts. You're a perfect match. He's the right man for you. I wish you both happiness. Now, please, stop bothering me." She just clung to my legs, sobbing. "No, Daniel, you're the one for me." I said, pried her fingers off me. "But not anymore. It's over, Sarah. We're really over." My voice was soft, just like it had been the night I saved her when I had tried to comfort her. I walked out of the office, and as the door closed behind me, I heard a sound of pure, hopeless despair, like a child who had just lost her favorite toy. To get away from Sarah for good, I volunteered to open a new branch for Mark's company out of state. I was gone for a year. When I came back, I wasn't alone. He had met someone. She was kind, gentle, and graceful. She wasn't as beautiful as Sarah, but she loved me with her whole heart, and her world revolved around me, the way my world used to revolve around Sarah. The day the divorce was finalized, my girlfriend and I went and got our marriage license. On our wedding day, Mr. Williams showed up. I hadn't seen him in a year, and he looked much older. He said he was there as a friend of my mother's. After he went inside, I glanced across the street and saw a familiar figure watching from a distance. It was Sarah. She was looking right at me, her expression filled with sorrow. My new wife asked, "Is that a friend of yours?" I smiled at her. "No," I said, "just a painful memory."